Hello, beautiful seekers. This is Pauline Marie. I have an activation download that feels very essential for where we are in this collective awakening. And it's for a holistic perspective about truth and a perspective and living in wholeness, oneness, and interconnected to all things. So I kept seeing the image of a sword. It's whole, it's upright, it's complete. It's perfectly molded or carved. But it's when it's held one way, right? Light reflects on one side and it then casts a shadow. So when we move to the other side, or we choose to turn the sword, we see that it reflects light again on the other side and casts a shadow there as well. So the sword itself does not change, only our perception does. And this really feels like an invitation to willingly see truth from all sides, from all perspectives, without fear. So this activation supports us in facing truths that we may have avoided because of the pain or the shadow they reveal. And when we are willing to see clearly, knowing that we're supported, illusion falls away, healing becomes possible, the path to wholeness opens. I also had a very powerful dream, has some humor with it as well, but of course this immense omnipresent light, God present. So really when you look at that, that's beyond what the eye can fully perceive. But it was shining down onto this large wooden table, kind of reminiscent of the Last Supper. But seated alone at this table was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. For all of you that don't know, you can look her up. But she was representing God's truth and the sword, this sword of truth, this sword of discernment, and the sword in the tarot representing the mind. But her role there was not about, and God's role was not about punishment. It was about rebalancing. It was about collapsing illusion where it has caused harm. And I think that was her living legacy on earth. But the pain was never caused by the sword in this example or even in this dream itself, but it was the intention behind how it was used. So this wave activation is deeply connected to healing. So we're diving into that healing lagoon in the wave activation 4 at a much deeper level. And this activation is honoring the divine feminine healer, the divine feminine healer within all things, all living things. And it's intuitive, it's compassionate, it's in service to others. So an example I'm going to give, like a surgeon, right, who uses a blade to save a life. The intention is precise and loving, intelligent. This contrasts with a service to self-distortion where we use tools like a blade, knife, sword. Here we're using these as an analogy. These tools are used to maintain illusion or vanity. So the difference is not the tool, but the intention and the spiritual frequency behind it. So I'm getting a strong, powerful, heartbeat of Mother Earth here about remembering our gifts and how they're meant to be used to heal, to co-create, to return to wholeness. We're standing at a threshold, arriving at the new year. Today is the first day of the new year, not because of the Gregorian calendar alone, but because of a deeper, more orchestrated divine timing And although I love the synchronization in the numerology, the 1126 reduces to the 10, symbolizing completion and wholeness, the full realized human. I love it. I love how everything speaks in the language of what will open our minds to see and hear and feel. So, at its core, this wave invites us to an inner sanctuary, an embodied sense of wholeness as safety, as self-reliance, as sovereignty, coherent hearts, healthy boundaries. These are the things to embody rather than seeking protection and healing wisdom externally. We're being activated to strengthen the internal mechanisms that show us presence, resilience, our own innate self-healing abilities. This is what keeps us strong as frequency beings, our energy bodies free from foreign invaders, be those spiritual, psychological, physiological, environmental. And I've experienced all of them. So this wave feels like the assistance of all of us, of humanity, in stabilizing health and well-being with both the current human form and the emerging new human form. Beautiful. Okay, so this vast cosmic support I feel surrounding this wave of, it's coming from divine intelligence, allies, beings, masters, advanced in healing. They may appear to the human mind as ahead of our time, yet this perception is an illusion. And I am feeling this heart coherence right now with Jesus, a message from Jesus. Jesus's mission was not to place healing beyond us, but to demonstrate what was possible, what is possible, to heal as he healed. This is why he demonstrated this on the most ill, the most in need, as we were never designed to harvest from illness or disease. It is one of our most potent catalysts of the human evolution for remembering our wholeness. From broken to whole, the contrast was and is still necessary, but warns too that the path of the healer on earth has been drained of purity of intention, and a reconciliation is required. Wow. Okay. I hear you, Jesus. I feel you. I love you. Got it. So I feel Jesus's role in this planetary wave activation so much. And it's clearing lower vibrational energies, programs, veils that obscure our access to healing and make access to all unattainable. However, we do have ownership here. We must choose. And I feel Jesus is encouraging us, saying healing is no longer distant. It's no longer abstract or inaccessible. It's embodied within, and it's embodied within planetary codes, awaiting our embodiment of them. Got it. So I will mention here, disclaimer, I am not giving medical advice. Always follow your own truth and path, what is available to you, what resonates with you. Seek the care you need given your current condition and circumstances. However, I am a living testimony through cancer and facing death head on that it brings another layer of awakening. And it brought my remembering of my self-healing abilities with nature, medicine, esoteric healing. So this was perfectly designed for my soul as a lived experience here on earth. And I will say that when healing, it feels like a slowing down rather than a pushing forward. It's an anchoring or an integrating rather than expanding. And balanced healing is always a natural occurring part of life. It's embedded in nature itself. So this lived experience was a large part of my blueprint, of my service as a healer archetype in this lifetime. So with gratitude for my suffering in turning pain into purpose, let's dive deeper into this activation. I'd like to hear from the waters. And we have Isle of Avalon. Okay, another healing energy water card here. Healing, returning to wholeness, transformation. Wow, okay. Couldn't be more perfect. So it is inviting us into healing. It's inviting us into that great transformation. It's inviting us into those truths, to those perspectives that are or have been avoided because of the shadow that they may reveal. But it's inviting us to see that our healing is an opportunity, right? And this healing opportunity, like my healing opportunity, led me to great, glorious things, right? So we can be activated deep within through some kind of surrender to healing. I want to look at the guidebook here about Avalon, so I feel like there is a deeper message here. So, Avalon is said to have been ruled by the powerful enchantress Morgan Fay and her 8 sisters. Bringing in the divine feminine healers here with the pre-download. So they were thought by many to be high priestesses, widely renowned for their tremendous healing abilities. So some believe that the Isle of Avalon, which is also known as the Isle of Apples, the Isle of the Dead, is a mythical place of healing that exists beyond the veil. Avalon and its healing spring waters have been identified in Glastonbury, in Somerset, in southwest England, and even today. So it's believed that this sacred place of healing was once surrounded by water and can only be reached by boat. So it is showing us that we can reach these healing waters, that we can call upon that support. We can call upon transformation and healing. All right, let's get some wisdom here from further activation. From the star deck, which I'm not surprised. Let's see, Earth came out here. Earth pulsing. Beautiful. The pulse of the mother, telling us to slow down and take time in nature. So that's a pretty direct message. Doesn't need a lot of interpretation. It's a beautiful card here. It's definitely a portal to our heart. And it's that opportunity and that invitation to consciously connect with Earth, the veil being lifted. She opens up and receives us more fully. We're able to drink from her sweet waters. Yeah, and it's a card of release of what no longer serves us. So any of that stagnant energy falls away, becomes connected to all things on the planet. Wow, so this is tying in beautifully to that trust, right? And that dropping of the veil once we choose to see clearly and know that we're supported, and that healing then becomes possible. That's the path to openness that opens up That's the earth pulsing. That's the mother opening us up to healing by spending time in nature, by respecting her in a balanced way. And that same offering, those same gifts will be given to us. All right, I am going to get a card from the Moon Oracle deck to see what further activations and support and guidance we might have here. All right, and we have Moon in Libra. Look at the other side. Okay, wow, this is tying us into the sword here and really into the balance. But looking on the other side of the sword, what came through. Willing to see truth from all sides is what we talked about in the pre-download. And of course, the Moon in Libra is probably the most beautiful moon constellation that there is. I'm blessed in that my moon is in Libra, so I can harmoniously resonate here. It's about resolving conflict, finding balance, and relating. Okay. I want to read a bit from the guidebook for this moon in Libra. It's an air element, and it does mean that justice prevails, but I think there's a deeper meaning here for healing. Okay, so it says perspective is key. Keep a positive outlook and be reassured that conflicts can be resolved and love and harmony can instead reside. So it's definitely supporting us here again with the perspectives, and perspective is key. So this is about truth. This is about holistic and higher perspectives and how we live and move in those rhythms. And it's a gentle energy bringing calm and peace, that all is well, all is where it should be. I love it. Thank you. Yeah, it does invite some, open-mindedness for us, like I said, to look at that other side, to look at the other side of the sword. And do we need to be open to see something, some other side of the story? Yeah. Lovely. All right, let's get an archetype. The wild unknown, may you please, my team speak through. All right. Okay, and Thanatos came out, which is death. It's the death card in this archetype. So to me, that just feels like, again, in that pre-download, the not afraid to face the fears, right? That facing death leads to truth. That is the message of this card. And so it is, again, about discovering truths. And when in our light aspect, we grieve, we mourn, perfect. We bear witness to all that is. It's just part of our evolution. Death, rebirth, death, rebirth, death, rebirth, right? But if we view that from only the shadow side of the sword, in fear, or in any kind of insensitivity to this illusion of age, or this illusion of old age, or even from the shadow side of illness, then we're staying stuck in a fear pattern, right? So it's an opportunity here to assimilate this omnipresent understanding of death and rebirth. And when we do that, we are forever changed. We're forever touched. And this capacity to live in this way and to understand this and to embrace this is so needed in our world. Yeah. The people that face this, we face anything. And so when this card appears, it's in kind of an invitation into that underworld, into that shadow. I'd like to get a little bit of clarity on pulling this card here in this message from the tarot. Oh, and we have the Sun card come out, and it's 11:01 on the clock when that came out. So great. So the Sun is truth as well. So, but it's vitality and it's simple joy, new innovations, it's accomplishment, it's energy itself, it's life itself, right? So coming out of that facing of truth that may feel like a shadow is what leads us to the happy Sun card. The healing rays of the sun, giving vitality to all. Absolutely. And with this depicted card, there's lots of sunflowers, and it's happiness, it's fulfillment. It can also speak to, in our everyday world, anxieties that we hold about health and how we have to move through those. Yeah, because the downside of the Sun card is overworking to this exclusion of our leisure, of our fun, of burnout, of what leads to, right, disease itself. So powerful and beautiful, and I'm super grateful for this coming through. In this activation, I'm just going to end with some healing messages here, or a healing message from the waters. What would you like to say here? And we have divine offerings. So surrender to the flow of the deepest currents of the new creative earth. And that's a number 10. So there we go. I will end it here. And thank you for being here. Remember, wherever you are is just where you need to be. Thank you for being here, and much love.